you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another movie review. It's been a hot minute since I've done one. The last movie review I did was for Love and Monsters. If you haven't seen it, you can find the link up here, or the link will also be in the description below. All of my reviews are completely spoiler-free, or as spoiler-free as I can possibly get them. So without further ado, this is going to be my spoiler-free review of Cruella. Here we go. So first off, I want to do an overview. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to compare this movie to one of my favorite things, food. So if Cruella was a full course meal, the appetizer would be somewhat of a series of unfortunate events sprinkled with Oliver Twist. The main course would be basically if Cinna from the Hunger Games was Cinderella. And the dessert would be a series of unfortunate events milkshake mixed with a teaspoon of Matilda and a sprinkle of Death Becomes Her, if you guys have ever seen the movie with Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. So I feel like that was vague enough that if you haven't seen the movie, I haven't really given you any major directions as to where the movie's going. It's kind of like listening to your GPS while driving blindfolded. It may tell you to turn left, but you don't know where you're going, you know? You don't really know when you're turning left, you just know you're turning left. So I want to start with some amazing things about this movie. Starting with the amazing person herself. Emma Stone was phenomenal in this movie. Like, honestly, I was really excited to hear Cruella was coming out because I, growing up, was a huge fan of the entire 101 Dalmatians series, from the cartoon one to the live action one and even to 102 Dalmatians. I love them. I love them. I watch them all the time. When I heard about Cruella coming out, I was excited, but when I heard Emma Stone was gonna be in it, I was over the moon, because everything that she has done that I've seen so far has been hilarious. Like Easy A, nobody could have played that part the way she did. Same with Zombieland. Like, she made that character so memorable because she is just an incredible actress. So when I heard that she was gonna be in this movie, I was like over the moon and even more excited to see it. And honestly, I think that she was both physically and verbally perfect for the role, and I actually had to check to see if she was actually British because I really wasn't sure. So my second amazing reference is to Emma Thompson, who played the Baroness. Again, nobody could have played that role better than she did. Now, Emma Thompson, you guys might know her better as the one and only lovable Nanny McPhee from the children's movies about the nanny who, you know, has little magic ways of making kids behave, and as they begin to behave, her appearance gets better. Ding. So yeah, she was I couldn't even believe how, like, I didn't even know it was her. Like, I didn't even recognize it as her because of like the makeup and stuff they did. And actually, fun fact, until I actually looked up who she was, I actually was really caught in my head because I thought she was Natasha Richardson, which I know is impossible because of past tragic events. But I definitely kept thinking, like, why does she look so much like Natasha Richardson? And I really wish like Natasha Richardson was around, because I think that she would have been an amazing Baroness as well. Like, I think that she would have been an amazing option. So the last thing I'm gonna say is that I think this movie was written very well. There is more to come on this statement later on in this review, but all in all, I think this movie was written very well. And now we're gonna get on to some things I didn't like so much. So before I say this, please realize this is my own opinions. I've come up with these thoughts by myself. My opinions may not match your opinions. I'm sure you guys have heard this whole spiel in every movie review you've heard, but that's where we're gonna stand, is my opinion and your opinion may be very different, but this is what I thought and felt when I watched the movie, and that's what I'm gonna share with you. So first thing I didn't really like was the overall use of animation. Like, you know, when I think Cruella, I think Dalmatians, and I only saw, like, there's only 3 Dalmatians in the movie, and I think that only, like, maybe in total, like, a minute and a half worth of all of the footage of dogs was real footage of dogs. The rest of it was all computer animated. That's not to say the computer animation wasn't great. It was amazing, but at the same time, when I think Cruella, I really think 101 Dalmatians, and I would have loved to see more like real dogs doing real things. All right, my second thing, or it's more of a critique than a negative thing, is I think they could have used more Dalmatians. As someone who grew up loving the 101 Dalmatians series, being the cartoons and the live action movies, I was really, like, when I hear Cruella de Vil, I think Dalmatians. I think 101 Dalmatians. So this movie had 3. So I really don't think that the use of more Dalmatians could have harmed them. But at the same time, I can kind of see how more Dalmatians wouldn't really fit into the plot line, which again is one of those things that I can't really talk too much about because then it'll be a spoiler, but I do really wish that they were able to make it so there was more Dalmatians. Because like I said, in total, like there was only maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes of footage of real dogs. The rest of it was all computer animated and graphics, and it's just, as a live action movie, like I know that you can't make every animal do the things you want them to do, but I still feel like the dogs should have been used a little more than just like, oh look, they're sitting in the corner. And I don't know, that's just kind of like my thought when I see live action movies like Marley and Me. You know, I don't think they use animation with Marley and Me, you know, that kind of thing. No, it's a very different story, very different things happen. But it's just like when you think of a movie about dogs, you'd think that the dogs would be real. And then moving on from the dogs for a minute, another thing that I kind of didn't really like was that there was a lot of very predictable moments. Now, like I said, the writing for this movie was phenomenal. Like, they did such a good job. There's no way I'm gonna sit here and be like, I could have done better, because there's no chance on planet Earth that I could have done better than that. They did so well. And having predictability doesn't make it a bad movie. Like, I think that they had a pretty even toss-up between like shocking moments and I called it kind of moments, you know? But again, there was a lot of times where I was like, this is gonna happen. Yep, it happened. And it was just like, could be because I've got a little bit more of a critical thinking type thing when I watch movies than others do, but I really felt like it was quite predictable often. But again, I really did also like some of the, you know, twists and surprises that they threw in there. So again, it's just kind of my thoughts and my feelings, and my opinion may not be your opinion, but that's where I'm at. And then my last negative or lesser positive thought on the movie was that when I was watching it, it didn't feel like it was being written about the Cruella de Vil that I knew growing up as a kid. When I hear Cruella, I think 101 Dalmatians. But to be super real, it almost doesn't feel like this movie was written to be about Cruella de Vil. Now, I know that writing the backgrounds of villains is like a really big thing. Like, I know that we've done it a couple times, going back and being like, this is how they became this, and it makes them more relatable, makes us more understand them better. Like, it feels like this movie wasn't really actually written about the Cruella de Vil that we all grew up watching and, you know, love to dislike and scour at as we see her on the screen. It just feels like they wrote this story about someone else, and then to give it better shop value, they were like, let's make it about Cruella de Vil. So my final thoughts on it were literally that Emma Stone and Emma Thompson completely carried the show. They were completely amazing actresses. They worked really well together, it seems like. I mean, I'm not sure what happened behind the scenes, but they both seemed like they played their parts perfectly. I don't honestly think I could picture a better duo in that case. And I really wanted to mention that again because I didn't want that opinion to be overshadowed by the couple little negative comments I made. So yes, Emma Thompson and Emma Stone were phenomenal in this movie. Don't get that wrong. They couldn't have picked better actresses for that. All in all, I actually really liked this movie. I actually think I probably loved this movie. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was well written. It was well produced. There were definitely some things that could have been different, but as I said, I'm not gonna sit here and say I could have written that better, because there's no chance I could have, and there's no chance I'd try to, because they did very well. But I think that like my biggest point in the dislikes is that it really didn't seem like it was written about Cruella de Vil. Like that, it feels like that movie could have been written about anybody and just been retitled and had a couple little things tweaked, because it really didn't feel like it was written about Cruella de Vil, hater of dogs and all things barky and spotted. And truthfully, I think they could have switched out the 3 Dalmatians for pretty much any breed and just had a completely different movie altogether. So like, I don't know, I it's just kind of where I'm at. I just feel like, you know, I was thinking when I went into it that it would be like why she hates dogs as much as she does, but it turns out to be something very different. Like, it's not like, you know, in 101 Dalmatians, Cruella walks in and she's like, I'm gonna buy all these puppies because I want their spots, because I can sell them and make millions. But in Cruella, it really isn't focused on her like or dislike for dogs at all. So it's just very, very confusing that it's about Cruella de Vil when it never really tells you why she is the way she is in 101 Dalmatians. Like, I almost thought of it like as like a prequel to 101 Dalmatians, but it's really, really not. So that's kind of where they lost me. But in total, like, I actually really did love the movie. Love the actors. I loved the plot line. It was a very unique movie. Very, very highly anticipated film for the summer. And I'm not disappointed in it at all. Like, I would say my overall rating is probably like maybe like an 8.2 out of 10. So like, I thought it was pretty good. All things considered, I do have a lot of things to say about it, but I actually really, really liked it for what it was too. So I think that is my review for this movie. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to review something else. I was thinking about doing a little bit of a movie recommendations like I've done before. I did like my top 10 favorite movies from the 90s. I'd love to do another one of those, so let me know what kind of list you'd like me to make. I'm really, really excited to get back into movie reviews because I love movies, and I really wanted to incorporate them into my channel. So if you guys like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next week with another new video. Bye!